Hello? Jeff, baby, how are you? It's Jeff Bezos.
Ask him where my package is.
Yeah, I'll go. Yeah, what's up, mate? Mate, we have already told you how to fix your game. We are not going to do it again unless you start paying us what we deserve. Well, I think $1 billion would be ideal. $2 billion, $1.75 billion, and we get a bathroom break once a day. Alright, we're willing to negotiate on the bathroom break. We can do without it, but we will need a bottle. You have to provide it. Okay. Alright, deal. Sam, let's go save Crucible.
And pee in a bottle. I am peeing in a bottle. Jeff Bezos made me do it. Nice. Guys, what a great start. We've got 2 cameras now. Camera 1, camera 2, camera 2, camera 1, camera 1, camera 2. I'm really excited. It's gonna be pretty cool. We've also got new props. Oh.
Shit, man, we didn't rehearse that. Get rid of that.
Yeah.
Delete that, please. Ladies and gentlemen, Crucible, it turns out, is a video game that you probably haven't heard of, but I can assure you it definitely does exist. It is a hero shooter, MOBA, brawler thing from Amazon Studios that came out a little while ago and then immediately disappeared into obscurity. Sam, how did you first hear about Crucible?
Funny you asked that, Ralph, actually, because I was actually sitting at home one day where I was like, oh, that new game's coming out from Amazon. I'm like, what game? Bro, the Crucible game. I'm like, what the hell is this thing? I hadn't even watched a trailer, man. Like,
Sure.
I had no idea. Along with a lot of other people, I remember looking on Twitter, a lot of people were like, what the hell is this game? I haven't even heard of it. Jumped on, and by God, I'm so glad that I jumped on, because what a fantastic game.
I actually heard of it from one of the people that was doing PR for the game tweeted about it randomly. Not even like an official PR tweet, just being like hey, this game is coming out soon on his like personal Twitter account. And I'm like, what the hell? Had never heard of it before. We live and breathe video games every single day. We had no idea this game was coming out. Sure enough, played it. Oh man, not great.
I think the reason, everybody, okay, detective hat on, why this game came out so quickly and so out of nowhere was because COVID hit and Amazon's like, boom, baby, let's get this thing out there. Everyone's at home. This is going to be a success. Of course it is. Everyone's going to want to jump on this thing. And they pushed this thing out with no marketing pretty much, and they just pushed it out there, and we were just expected to just jump on this thing.
Yeah, I actually think that's exactly what happened, which was a real shame because it was absolutely not ready to be released.
No.
And that was very clear. The moment it was released, you know, reviews started flooding in, very middling, like very negative reviews on Steam across the board. It was sort of sitting at mixed across most of the time. Now I think it's dropped to mostly negative. Metacritic was like 50 across the board, and I think that's kind of generous, to be honest with you, with the number of issues plaguing this game. It was definitely a 100% flop from a sort of like critic perspective, and there are a lot of reasons for that. Number one, it launched with a number of game modes when it should have really had just one game mode.
Look, I mean, there are games that can come out and have multiple game modes.
Sure,
but like,
of course.
when you're kind of new, it's your first... I mean, I know Amazon did something else in the AAA space, but really, it was their first real shot at something that was potentially going to be quite big.
Yeah.
I really think they could have handled it in a way that, yeah, baby steps. Just do
For
one
sure.
mode that's really good, and then everyone jumps on and then expand it. They didn't do that. They had 3 game modes.
Yeah.
Not Heart of the Swarm.
They
That's
had
a StarCraft. Something about a big, gigantic mushroom, and there's other types of actual modes that you could play.
It's a Mario game then.
Exactly. Well, I don't know what I'm talking about these days.
The other thing they had was terrible netcode. Basically, playing it was a complete meme. Even when I got connections to good servers, everyone was still rubber banding all over the place.
Yep.
Character balance was so cactus, like,
and just glitchy, like
so
when you
glitchy.
shot, like it just felt really like all over the place. You know, you'd punch someone, there was barely any melee, it didn't feel tactile or anything.
One character actually had like a reload animation that just wasn't there. Like when they wanted to reload, they would just be like,
They did it with their mind.
that was it. They would just do these ones.
They did it with their mind.
They did it. And no sound, no movement, and then all of a sudden her bullets were back. So anyway, this was not finished. And then the Steam charts reflected that level of success or failure as well. It has an all-time high of about 10,000 players, which is not great for a free-to-play game, by the way. Most recently, it's got about 160 people playing it on the rig.
I'm surprised it even has that many.
I actually am surprised it has that many.
Only a few days after it came out, I remember looking at the Steam charts, and it was like at 380 or something. It was already dramatically...
Imagine spending 3 years of your life and like millions of dollars so that 300 people can play.
And
the game.
we always say this time and time, we feel bad for the devs. Like of course they want to make a good game, but the bottom line is the game sucked like really badly, and these Steam charts were clearly showing this. So they really needed to do something. But luckily, the Laymen, not Skill Up, the Laymen came to the rescue and saved the day, everybody.
Correct.
Okay.
So you might remember that the Laymen / Skill Up gave some advice to the developers that came in 3 parts. Number 1, delete the other game modes and just focus on one game mode. Sure enough, that's exactly what happened. The developers said that they were retiring 2 of those game modes and they were going to focus on just the one, the Heart of the Hives it's called, which is their kind of like most MOBA-esque game mode. And everyone's like, cool, good move. You're welcome, Amazon Studios. Check. Wait, invoices in the mail.
Yes.
Okay, that's how it works.
It's coming through Amazon Prime.
Number 2 piece of advice that we gave them was to take this game down and put it into closed beta. We said that the damage was so massive and the number of things that needed to be fixed in this game was so numerous. The only way you could responsibly do this is with a tight-knit community of people who are there for the right reasons and can give you like intimate feedback. Do you know what I mean?
Look, I honestly want to ask the question to you.
Here we go.
Do you actually think...
Yes, the answer to your question is yes.
Is sitting there going,
yes.
Guys, listen, I just watched Skill Up's video.
Yes.
Listen,
100%.
We need to do exactly what he said. I mean,
and this is the test. This is the test.
This is going to be the test.
If they change the name, which is the 3rd piece of advice, then fuck you, okay? They watch the videos and they listen, okay?
Look,
that's
I will concede if in 2 or 3 days or a few months they're like, Crucible is now called Schmooshable. Like some new name, which I kind of understand because I know the point you did make in your video. Move away from this thing. It has so much stink. It's such a bad brand now. It's a bit of a meme, right?
Crucible is Destiny, man. You can't even search for this game online. Anytime you type in Crucible, all you get is Destiny results.
When you said that when it first came out, I'm like, Crucible, isn't that a Destiny thing?
Yeah.
Like, it's the same thing. It's just such a bad idea. It's like if Fallout came out with Fallout 77. I mean, maybe people would give it a bit of a chance again.
People are playing Fallout 76.
No, but you know what I mean.
Definitely, if you play Fallout 76, you're definitely dumb enough to fall for Fallout 77.
Exactly.
100%.
Exactly right. But look, change the name. Good idea if you actually get around to it. But this is like the first time I think we've ever seen this actually happen. We were sitting here before trying to think, what other games have really done this? There is, of course, the Anthem thing where they've kind of said Anthem 2.0 is coming. We're going to go back to completely fundamentals and build this back up. But you can play that still, though. That's the difference.
But you can. Well, this is the thing. Just to be clear on this announcement, they did announce that this is going into closed beta. But if you already have access to the game, you're in the closed beta. Okay, so if you're one of the 160 people who are playing this game on the reg, don't worry, you're still going to be able to play. It just means that anyone who wants to join after this time. Damn it. They can't play. What a shame. Such a bar.
Oh, but look, there are success stories in terms of this is not exactly the same, but if we were to look at something like Final Fantasy where they developed it in the background, kind of, destroyed the planet with a giant Bahamut moon or whatever they did, right? And they're able to then really rebuild on that. With that rebrand button, that reset button, they just jump right in and they've seen a huge success from that. There are people and there are games that do it.
Yeah.
Do I think this has the same legs as Final Fantasy? No, because Final Fantasy is a gigantic brand. A lot of hardcore players are already playing it. They didn't have 160 people playing it at that time, So I think this is going to be a harder thing for them.
Yeah, I definitely agree. It's a much more uphill climb. I think it's the right step. Look, I'd like this to be successful. I like this style of game. There were some good aspects to this game. I really like the hero design in particular. I thought it was great. So it has some strength. I'd like to see it, come back. But yeah, it's obviously a big gamble, and we've never seen a game kind of unrelease itself, where it officially takes itself down and back to closed beta. But I appreciate the bravery and the boldness. So, so good on them.
No, but look, it is actually good to see that. Not many devs will ever face the failure. They'll be like, oh, everything's going so well, guys.
That's right.
Like, they're just like, you know what, guys, we really need to go back to the drawing board. And I respect that. And when they do want to release this again, I'll line up and play it. Like,
I won't line up, but I will play it.
You know what I mean? I will give this thing a solid 10 minutes and see if it's any better.
That's pretty good for Sam, to be honest.
I mean, honestly, 10 minutes, not bad, everybody.
It's not bad.
But look,
the other thing as well I would say is that this does raise grave concerns for for Amazon's New World, which is the MMORPG they've got coming out soon. It's in like August, I think. I have definitely seen some posts from people who are in the sort of closed
QA testing
beta. They're under NDA. They're not allowed to say it, but they have said to me or forums or whatever else, they're like, this is not great, you know? So I've seen trailers. None of it's really jumping out at me as being like, oh man, I have to play that game. It looks kind of old and kind of outdated, and they've really kind of chopped and changed in their development direction a lot. I don't have high hopes for New World. I really don't. It could be the next Amazon catastrophe. I hope it isn't, but it's not looking great.
Yeah, I think that if they had a bit more chops, like in terms of they've been around a bit longer, they had a bit more experience, I think a lot of people would now would be excited for this new MMO thing they're doing. We've already seen how bad this Crucible thing was. It's of course going to hurt the next game, even if it has nothing to do with it. It is going to hurt that next game now.
Yep.
And in August, I feel like they're probably going to delay this now, man. I reckon I'm calling
They
it.
have delayed it many times already. This August is actually like, I think it's at least a year late or something now.
Oh god.
So,
okay, well, it's a bit like Cyberpunk. If they delayed Cyberpunk more, it becomes a meme. So hopefully they don't then delay this.
So I do think overall this really caps out, I guess, Amazon's failure to enter the core gaming market. They did have the Grand Tour, which is a racing game that you probably haven't heard of. I didn't even hear about it, but it was apparently a racing game from, you know, Jeremy Clarkson and the Top Gear crew or whatever.
Oh yeah.
And then there was obviously Crucible, and then there's this New World coming. The approach that Amazon have taken has just been really... It just seems like the wrong approach, man. Like, they should have started smaller. They should have tried to work with some smaller indie devs.
Yes.
Build a portfolio, build some credibility, get to like feel the ropes of what game design and publishing is all about before just going like, hey, let's spend millions of dollars on a gigantic free-to-play hero shooter and millions of dollars on an MMO.
Yeah.
Like, come on, man. That's not wild.
I mean,
you know what I mean?
having said that, if they do come out with a game in the future that's really banger, they can come back into the market. But right now, it's not looking good.
It's not looking good. Your parcels are late. Your games are bad.
Yes.
And do the peeing in the bottle song again.
I'm a peeing in a bottle.
Let's look at the funk.